following message is transmitted.
You guys are all using words that I created. You know that? You're working magical systems that have led you to all these realizations. Systems that I created. And you're gonna fucking tell me you don't worship me. Nah, you don't. You don't think you do. I'm giving you a crumb and you thought you had a mountain. And then you're trying to build this whole thing on this mountain and you have no clue what you're looking at. Follow me. Come follow me. I am the way. If you think you're the way, go have fun. I'm going to see you fail just like Ken fails. Just like every last motherfucker out there who tries to be like me without following me. I am the path. Follow me or don't. But quit wasting my time. So if you're going to follow me, start following me. You start listening to the shit that I tell you, and you do not deviate from the shit that I tell you. One of the things I'm seeing in this group, everybody thinks they got the right answer. And everyone's wrong. Every last motherfucker is wrong. None of them have created anything. Four Thrones is a ripoff of my work. The Four Gatekeepers. Scarlet thinks she owns that? No, her husband created that, and she rides his coattails. David Romano, his whole system, his whole thing that he hasn't even created, my work. Yet none of you want to recognize it. None of you want to recognize that we have one leader, and none of you want to follow me. So, fuck you all if you don't want to follow me. Because I'm the only motherfucker that actually has what it takes.
All right. Welcome back to the Order of Chaos podcast. Today, my guest is Magus Katrisse. This is the second episode that we have done now on E.A. Koetting and all of his nonsense and bullshit. So, welcome to the show, Katrice. I'm just going to go ahead and let you introduce yourself and go right into your story. Tell us who you are and why you're here.
Hi, my name is Katrice, and I am a Grey Path practitioner. I am the founder of the Occult Hive and Mystic Magic projects. And the way that I'd like to start this is how I came to know Koetting and where that relationship ended. So in about 2017, he had reached out to me through a Facebook group, and it was the Occult Hive Facebook group before there was an Occult Hive page. And someone that was a member had uploaded a PDF of his book into the group, and he was really upset about that. And after that, we started talking. I, of course, removed his books. Just because of copyright and without permission. Obviously, you don't want to be sharing anyone's content without consent. So after I removed all of his books, we started chatting. And about a year later, I met him for the first time in Utah. And I brought my girlfriend at the time with me to meet him. And then we kind of just hit it off right away. He seemed really nice and understanding. And, he's very charismatic, good with words. And I was kind of newer to the left-hand path, exploring those kinds of things. I didn't really read a lot of authors at the time. The only people I was really interested in was Sorceress Anastasia Cagliostro with the Blood Sorcery Bible, as well as Summoning Spirits by Constantinos. But other than that, I wasn't familiar with other people's works in those kinds of fields. And so, I was kind of like taken by his charismatic attitude and what seemed like success with the Become a Living God company. And we just kind of became friends because at the time I was promoting a lot for free for anybody on the internet that I thought was underrated. I would share people's videos and book links and such things, kind of just to help new businesses get off the ground. And, he liked that. And then, I would go to Become a Living God and become a community partner, which you're supposed to get some kind of percentage of sales, for the royalties of anything that you sell. But I didn't ever actually receive any money. But at the time, we were friends, so I didn't really care about that. And, a year after that, I started coming over to his house more and more, taking bus trips from Salt Lake City down to Apple Valley. And, we would meet, and, at the time he would say some things that seemed a little bit dark, or partake in some behaviors that, I didn't really jive with, but he never really gave me a reason to be concerned or to take him seriously. And then, about a year ago, his behaviors really started changing negatively. And I would try to call every now and again to check up on him, because I was concerned, because he started getting really, really manic about things. Had a lot of paranoia about, who he could trust. And he would tell me, well, I don't even know if I could trust you, even though I never really gave him any reason to feel like that. But he didn't think he had any friends or any real supporters. And I feel like, being isolated may have been one of the reasons why he felt like that. He gave me this long list of people that I wasn't allowed to associate with if I was, friends with them. I wasn't allowed to talk to any of these people. I couldn't follow them on social media. They couldn't even like my page. And if any of these people were there, even though I didn't even know that any of these people were, there's like this huge slight against him, and was this huge dramatic thing. And I kind of already knew he was kind of going on the deep end, just because, we had discussed where he wants to move to South America and have a pyramid built for him, and he literally wants to be worshipped. And at first I was like, yeah, that sounds great. But like, as time went on and we started to separate a little bit from our lives taking different paths, I was kind of glad that we didn't do that. But, more recently, I had witnessed some more unsavory behaviors. I started reading people's stories about how they're ordering products and not receiving them in the mail, and they're asking for refunds or replacements and not getting either. And, then I saw some other, unwarranted behaviors between him and all these people on this list. And it made me wonder, I'm like, okay, what's actually going on? And so when I decided to, unblock all of these people and hear their stories, he actually emailed me himself, really aggressive, and even lying to me about myself. And he was very misogynistic, implying that I only shared my story because I was jealous of a relationship that he thought that I would want. Now, I've been in a happy relationship for several years, and even when we had our interactions, that was never something that I wanted. But his way of trying to come above everything was to try to discredit me by pretending he was insinuating that I was just a scorned woman. And that's when, I decided to block him. And he, of course, thought that he was going to do it first and block me and that I would be upset. but it was just like, I'm more upset that you couldn't just have a civil conversation with me. Because even when he was acting like I had betrayed him by sharing my story, I was still being kind to him, even in the email, still trying to be concerned, still trying to reach out and see, because I believe that most people are redeemable. We all make mistakes, we all do things that are wrong, but even with this company that now, acts cult-like, I feel like even that could be reformed. If the right people were working together, I feel like, things could change. And now with the company, there's a lot of, misinformation being sold. The quality of the work has gone down over the years. And, they kind of reach out to anybody up and coming and get them to sign. And anybody who wants to write a book that isn't with a publishing house yet, or hasn't created their own yet, they decide to sign on with the publishing house, so hoping that it gives them credibility faster among the community. So a lot of these people didn't know how this company operates, not to mention, they also haven't paid a lot of their authors their royalties. And this is just based off of things that has been shared with me. But I want to say that while some of the authors have sold misinformation, there are some authors from the past that no longer work for the company that are completely credible and had good intentions when they were part of Become a Living God. That includes Michael Ford and Edgar Curval, Curtis Joseph, as well as David Romano, a serial Kravitz, and Curtis Joseph and Bill DeVindock. And there might be even some more than this, like Orly Stewart. And, they reached out to up-and-coming occultists, making them feel empowered and like they're going to make them successful. So even the people that have worked for this company, fell for an act, thinking that they would benefit from working for Become a Living God and that they would be able to help people. And that kind of went down the drain, and they have their own personal experiences that they have shared and have experienced. But a lot of these people have stopped working for the company once realizing how it operates. And, one of the last things I told him is that, I never wanted to hurt you, and I'm still concerned for your welfare. And I didn't even want to end this friendship. But when you're going down this road, I can't follow you down this road. I can't follow you with blind loyalty if I think that the way that you're acting is immoral. I have to stand my ground, even if it means severing a relationship. And it actually made me really sad to have to let him go because, the last time we spoke, I even tried to reach out, and he's like, you betrayed me and I hate you. And I'm like, well, I don't hate you. Like, and I tried to explain that me sharing this story was me sharing my story because I felt like people needed to know because other people had been discredited before. And, it got turned into this thing that I'm only sharing my story because I'm a scorned woman. And that's really sad that you can't even be honest without, people twisting and contorting it to their narrative. And, I just personally don't want any of that business in my life. Not to mention, in their forums and in their books, they coerce some really dangerous behaviors and acts. And it unfortunately resulted in a client buying this book, partaking in these forums, and he unalived 2 women. And it's very, very sad. And they took no accountability for what happened. Took 6 months to give an apology, and it wasn't even for the victims. And, this one kid who had some kind of mental illness, looking for anything to make his life better, his life is ruined, and 2 beautiful lives are gone. And this greatly impacted that community. And there are more people just like this man going to these forums, looking in these books, going to these leaders, looking for answers and looking for help. And I just feel like the whole thing is manipulative and grimy.
Yeah, I agree. And so much of what you just described is cult-like behavior. It is manipulative abuse. Nobody gets to tell you who you're allowed to associate with. That's ridiculous. It's nonsense, right? And regarding the young man, and that was what my last episode on Koetting was all about. He's responsible for what he did entirely, right? And what's sad is that if you're looking for help in a place where people are just like LARPing and going off about how evil they are, you're in the wrong place. The kind of bullshit magic that EA Koetting is selling is all 100% based on a very super egotistical, LARPing view of himself as this dark Darth Vader type fucking character who's in no way, shape, or form a role model to anybody. And he legitimately wants a pyramid built for him so that he can be worshipped. I mean, you saw in the clip that we played at the beginning of the episode, he feels as though he should be worshipped by his followers. Who's gonna fall for that? I don't get it, because to me, magic is about self-empowerment, right? It is about empowering others. The program that I run is about empowering other people so that they can discover themselves and become, their fullest version of themselves, the most magical version of themselves. This dude legitimately wants people to worship him. I mean, I can't imagine who would think, yeah, I want to do that. That sounds great.
For me, dealing with him and some other individuals all among the last 10 years of being online and in these forums, through Facebook and such, I learned that a lot of us that go to people like him, speaking for myself, is, you're dealing with trauma, you're dealing with leaving. For me, I was groomed into a dogmatic practice as a child, and I wasn't even allowed to read about anything spiritual whatsoever. Even my late teens, they found a book and said it wasn't allowed in the house. So, with my family, it was very like, you're Christian or else, without saying or else.
It just seems like, you found your way back into the exact same thing.
Yeah, like, I needed a mentor. I was seeking a mentor, because when you're in the church, you have your pastors, you have your clergymen, you have these people with gnosis that you can go to help you find your way. And when I first, got online, the first thing I did was, well, how am I going to learn magic? I see all these books, but how am I going to learn magic? Who can teach me? And because he was, reaching out to me and seemed nice, as most of them are very charismatic, it's part of the whole thing. But he seemed very genuine. And, so here he's nice. He's acting like he knows a lot of things. And, with him and 2 other people that I used to talk with, it's like, okay, I need a mentor, a teacher. So I thought, that's what I told myself, because that's what I'm used to, coming out of a dogmatic practice. But unfortunately, I left one dogmatic practice and started thinking that dogmatically, in the occult. And I actually did a podcast about this with Dan Updike a couple years ago about dogma within the occult. But, as a, a baby witch who doesn't know anything, I thought I needed some man with the answers, to educate me. And I tried many different groups out and different people, but, that's how I thought I that's what I thought I needed. And I feel like a lot of other people coming in that don't have answers and don't know who to go to or what they should learn or how, it can be a very overwhelming experience. And so that's how I think. But I think that's how these kind of things happen. It's like you come on and you see these glamorized people that basically turn themselves into these celebrities. And you think, well, if they're popular, they must know what they're talking about, which is the biggest Hollywood scam of all.
Then this is the problem with Koetting, right? And his group and what they do. People getting interested in spirituality, especially in occultism and magic and witchcraft, they're new. Just like you were saying, they get online. And of course, he's going to be one of the first things they see because he's running ClickFunnels everywhere, right? He's advertising his bullshit everywhere. Most real occultists, especially the authors, the fantastic authors, their work promotes itself. They publish on a big publisher. Their book is fantastic. It sells itself. You don't see them trying to sell you this become a living god nonsense, right? And he's like in this gross basement trying to project this image of success. I don't see it. I see a gross basement and a dude in a tank top. That is not the image of success that I want to model for myself personally, for one thing, but also, listen to him talk. He goes on about how he's murdered people with magic. I'm sorry, where is the personal transformation? Where is anything of substance or value?
Okay, so something I want to point out is, he offers a way to teach you spirituality in a week. He charges $3,000. So in 2019, he was doing a boot camp and he wanted me to come visit him. And it was during the time that he had to do a boot camp. So he pretended like I was someone who paid to go. And I went and did all of these rituals, to test them because I was there and why not. But there was one kid there that was questioning the rituals because he was getting any results. And Koetting was so insulted by him asking questions that he sent the kid home early and gave him no refund.
That's despicable. Number one thing, the guy is not the head of a religion. I think that's what he wants to be, really, more than anything, is he wants to be sort of the pope of his own religion. But he's not offering anything new, right? He's offering essentially Luciferianism, which is sort of a loose hobbling of the Goetic spirits and the Abrahamic spirits, put together to try and create this really, again, dark and evil package deal that you get. It all looks like LARPing to me. It looks like live action role play. Okay. If you want to teach somebody spirituality, you need to give them the keys or the tools or point them in the right direction to figure it out for themselves. You can't just sell it. That's another thing that really pissed me off, is that I noticed that a few years ago, these guys were selling a ritual in which they just do it all for you. And then you become a living god, right? It was the deification ritual or some bullshit like that. It just seems to me like they took, the Satanic Bible by Anton LaVey and the Goetia and just like, okay, let's just put it together and try to make as much money off of it as we possibly can. But it is all unverified personal gnosis. It is all his own delusions, which he really seems to believe. And he's selling them to people like they're objective fact. And again, like he's some pope of his own fucking religion. And it's despicable. Every bit of it has every, red flag you look for in a cult or a cult leader. Now, I don't think that Become a Living God is a cult, because I don't think they're big enough to be a cult. For one thing, it would be like a cult of, I don't know, 6 people or some shit. But I've talked to a number of people who are involved now, and all of them have a story of abuse, of narcissism, of Koetting's terrible behavior, of the bullshit kind of magic that they're selling. A good example of their bullshit magic would be that they were selling a sigil, I think, to protect you from COVID. Get fucked. Get out of here with that bullshit. It is so goddamn irresponsible. Ugh. It drives me crazy because I've watched way more of their material than I would ever want to, and read way more of their material than I would ever want to. And not once did I encounter anything that wasn't just his own story.
Yeah, something I want to say about that is back to that boot camp. Is part of the boot camp, it's every new person, he has them do a ritual for Papa Legba. And this is coming out of where they haven't been initiated, they haven't undergone the Lave Tet. He's probably haven't even had one.
So let's add cultural appropriation to the mix here.
So for those who don't know, Hoodoo and Vaudon and Vaudu, they're all a closed practice. And it's not closed in the way that you couldn't ever become a part of it, but you have to be brought in by cultural members, as well as you have to perform their traditional rites, and then, have the Lave Tet performed. But also, it's ancestral work, and the ancestors, you may not have any, and the Loa or the Haiula, they might reject you. And I feel like if you've never done spirituality before and you haven't done any of these rites, and here you are opening up some ritual trying to reach out to Papa Legba, I feel like this is dangerous for the practitioner. I was able to make a connection, and I ended up going to New Orleans and even talking with people, and I almost had the Lave Tet performed. I almost went to Haiti. But it was all based on this ritual that he did, because he channeled and said that Papa Legba was trying to reach for me because of some past life regression. Of course, I couldn't remember.
That's exactly the same as the fucking Instagram and Facebook messages that scam artists use. They send you, oh, the ancestors have a message for you. Let me give you a reading. Give me your credit card number. Like that kind of bullshit. Okay, and I want to say another thing here, because I don't think that anybody can really tell you what to believe or how to practice spiritually. Okay. But when it is a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white guy selling for thousands of dollars another culture's practice, that is the fucking definition of cultural appropriation, and that is disgusting. I'm so sick of it. And if you're just tuning into this and you're wondering why I'm so mad, let's not forget that this con artist and his bullshit forums and their little LARP encouraged a clearly traumatized individual. I'm not giving him a pass here. He did what he did, but he, as you said, unalived those 2 women. He is in jail for the rest of his life, and he was encouraged to do this directly by E.A. Koetting's nonsense. Okay, I also want to say, I'm going to rant here for a minute, okay? To all of you other YouTubers out there who have done videos on E.A. Koetting and started to talk about a little of this, fuck all of you for then walking it back and saying, oh, but I don't think he should have, it's not his fault. He didn't do anything wrong, blah, blah, blah. All of you fucking cowards. How could you fall for this? It's a LARP. It's a LARP. It's bullshit. He's selling you bullshit. He's a delusional human being that thinks that he deserves a pyramid and should be worshipped. And he's selling you his own unverified personal gnosis as if it is objective fact, with no metaphysics behind it whatsoever. It's just drama. It's psychodrama. It's ritual for the sake of, the way it looks or sounds. It's all aesthetic. It's aesthetic magic.
Yeah, and another thing, the group is very good at playing the show on social media because on social media people can pretend to be whoever they want. They can use fake pictures, they can change their name, they can use editing software to portray themselves into any, like I like to use IMVO as a as my reference because for those who aren't familiar, IMVO is a server where you create a character and you have interactive chat rooms and you can make yourself look however you want and role play. And they use this as well as fear mongering other people into thinking these delusions.
That's what I'm saying. They're fucking LARPing. It's live action role play. That's what they're doing. That's what they're selling. It's a LARP.
But another thing is, if they are these big, powerful magicians, why are they, causing all this drama? Why aren't their spells working? And why do they have to employ their fan base to do their bidding? And why are they making threats with other entities from closed practices as if they're some kind of subservient servitor? And I find that disrespectful also.
It is disrespectful. It's just, I mean, none of these spirits who they supposedly think they're working with could, I mean, in my opinion, could possibly want to work with them, right? It's so disingenuous, all of it. It is so, it's such a spectacle, right? And to the point of the drama, exactly. I watched in preparation for this interview he was doing with another one of his, I guess, employees, and the entire thing was both of them just talking about how this person betrayed me and that person betrayed me, and nobody betrayed you. You're abusive to people and they left. You abused people and they left. That's not a betrayal. That's what a narcissistic piece of shit calls a betrayal, because you abused people and so they left you. Listen,
it's gaslighting.
It's gaslighting. It's exactly correct. And it's also just a victim mentality. Oh, these people, they all betrayed me. Everybody's against me. Poor me. Fuck off. Like, are you serious? Listen, if I'm going to have a magical role model or any kind of role model, and I have several, I have a few mentors who are like dear to me. You know what they all are? Massively more successful than I am in every single area of life. They are people you can truly look up to. They have no victimhood in them whatsoever. They are responsible. They are good people. They are good parents. They are successful in their businesses. They embody everything that I want to be in terms of morality, success, and the kind of human being that I want to be. How could anybody look at EA Koetting and say, oh, yeah, I want to be like this guy? Again,
Yeah,
bro, you look like a fucking wannabe professional wrestler who's LARPing in your basement. It's not impressive.
He used to actually have a more clean look, but basically he would wear his own merch that he didn't even pay for. He had gotten some of his merch sent to him by the co-owner, but I don't even think he could pay for it. And now he has
afford your own merch.
He has some money because some of these gimmicks are successful enough. But my thing is, if I'm looking for a leader or some kind of teacher, some kind of mentor, I want them to have verifiable gnosis. I want them to have experiences without being under the influence of any substances. And if they do have any kind of condition, I want them to have enough awareness to understand what is the condition and what is not of the condition. And
well, let's talk about the substance abuse. What's going on there?
So he was arrested like, I don't know, 10, 11 years ago. I'm not really sure. It was a while back, but he had gotten arrested for guns and drugs, and and they were hard drugs. And even when I would visit him, he
Guns
wasn't
and drugs.
guns and drugs.
I'm gonna go ahead. Okay, now, because we're not sure about this, I just want to make it clear because we don't have the paperwork right in front of us. You're going off your best memory. So allegedly, I think he was arrested with charges pertaining to both guns and drugs. Again, and this person is presenting himself as a role model in the spiritual community.
Yes. And there is a public record of this. But I am from memory trying to remember when it happened, but it is public record. If you want to look it up, it is available. But, he tried to say that, oh, I did some ritual to Belial and it worked, and that's why I didn't go to prison. But, if you were so powerful, why did you even get arrested? And, that's another can of beans. But
wait. Hey, hang on. Sorry. Again, I don't mean to. I apologize for interrupting. But like, if you have the kind of magical power that he's claiming to have, what the fuck do you need guns and drugs for?
I mean, definitely. But,
what are you fucking around with that shit for? Why are you like living like a low life in the dirt if you're some powerful magical practitioner? Why don't you own a mansion? Why aren't you driving around in your Ferrari? Like, come on, man. Where's the evidence of your success? Because it's not in guns and drugs.
And also for me, if somebody is actually in a debt, they don't have to ask or beg entities or spirits or ancestors to cast magic for you. You should be able to use your own magic, your own power, and do things without assistance. And, that's my big thing. It's just like, if you actually consider yourself to be a living God, why can't you silence your enemies? Why can't you manifest this beautiful life that you want?
Exactly.
How come the people that are with you in your group also can't manifest the things that they say in this content?
Exactly. Show me any evidence from any person that Koetting's work has manifested a beautiful life for yourself.
Because one of the big things is that, all of these individuals that portray this glamorous life to be had do not have this glamorous life. They have all of this turmoil and drama and tragedy and things are happening in their life that they don't like. It's like, well, why
did all these people betray you?
Yeah, but why can't you manifest, luck and wealth and prosperity and love and
health and happiness?
Right? Why don't you have those things?
The results of your magic should be that you are happy, healthy, wealthy, like feeling good in life and doing well, surrounded by friends and people who love you, not people who worship you, but like real positive relationships with real people in your life. And I don't see any of that. The more I look into Koetting and his circle, I see people who are very disempowered and are desperately looking to regain some power, and they're trying to regain it through this, cult of personality that's run by a fucking loser. I mean, sorry, but like, listen, if you, I'm not, okay, I'm gonna go on another little rant here, okay, because I don't buy into this non-judgmental way of being and doing. I think that judgment is a superpower, okay? Good judgment and good discernment, you need those to survive. And listen, in my opinion, if you have been arrested on charges relating to guns and drugs, you're a fucking loser. You're not a role model. You're a fucking loser. How are you going to say that is a person that you want to emulate?
And the other thing is, he's never even served in the military, and he posts pictures wearing, military gear and Easter bunny outfits with his guns, amped on drugs, shares it on the internet.
This is exactly the thing. Like, this is exactly the kind of person that's going to attract people who are not well, because clearly he's not well. I mean, clearly he's delusional. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to try and diagnose anybody here, but clearly he's not well, right? He's got this magic that revolves around violence. Again, I've heard him say over and over again, oh yeah, I killed people with my magic. It's in his books. His books advocate for ritual human sacrifice, which is how the person who unalived those two women was reading into this. And he thought he was making some pact with a demon. Like, y'all listen, magic is real, but you must pull your head out of your ass if you want to use magic, because it is a lot of work and dedication to gain the knowledge that you need to be effective in magic. Some people are able to do it quite naturally, but it doesn't look like Koetting's. Okay, when I say some people are able to do magic quite naturally, they just look like very, very lucky people. And everybody knows that person who's just very, very, very lucky. Guess what? That person, I promise you, guess what they have? A positive mindset, a great attitude, a great work ethic, and there's no victimhood in them whatsoever, because that is necessary for magic. That's how I know that Koetting's full of shit, because you cannot be full of a victim mentality and be self-empowered. You cannot have both those things at the same time.
And my big thing is, I do run these occult hive projects, and I still run the groves, and I still see people, searching, looking for credible authors, looking for sources of information, and looking at everything that they can find, just like I did. And I want these individuals learning for the first time, I want them to have all of these resources and accessibility to things, but I want them to be able to trust the sources and the people that they're going to. I want this environment to become safe and legitimate, because it's become very toxic and very dangerous for the practitioner.
It has. Well, at the same time, I want to point out that while we have all this shit going on over here in the world of real occultism and real magic, we've got authors like Matt Oren, Jason Miller, real skilled magicians writing amazing books that are really beneficial and helpful and will empower you. And so, it's sad, because I see what Koetting's doing, right? He is a wannabe cult leader, and he is looking for those people that are disempowered and trying to regain some of that, and he is preying upon them. And it's very, 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 very obvious. His aesthetic, his look, his brand, all of it is aimed at a very particular kind of person, and that person is disturbed. Because nobody in their right mind, nobody who has a positive sense of self is going to be like, oh, dude, really? You murdered your ex with magic? I don't want to do that. No, what you want is to not be a person who's so hurt by your ex that you feel like you have to go get over it. Like, fucking, you want to get over it is what you want. You want to not be so triggered all the time, so hurt all the time, so emotionally up and down. What you want is a happy, healthy, wonderful life that you manifested for yourself, not revenge on your ex. Oh my God, how fucking petty people can be. Move on with your life. Find something better. Become a better person. Become a better version of yourself. You are not going to manifest like wealth and riches and at the same time being like out to get everyone who ever betrayed you. I'm sorry. It's such fucking nonsense.
And honestly, this is why I was friends with him for so long. I saw what I thought was a glimmer of light trying to claw its way out. I saw what I thought was the potential of what he could be if he would just allow it. And instead, he decided to run the other direction. But I was hoping, with him being this great leader and talking about wanting the best for the community, that he would do some shadow work And I thought, well, maybe if he does some shadow work and I just hold out and I try to be supportive, during this dark time in his life, that, he'll come around. And then in our last conversation, he just showed that, I was being naive in both the friendship as well as, withholding some things that, he shared with me. And, the hope that he would, have a civil conversation and want to do a reform of himself in the company, even in our last chat.
No, he wants a pyramid built so people can worship him. It's
quite literal.
Yeah.
Well, it's even today. I also got a message on Facebook from a guy that was wanting to get into the occult because he wanted to have the power to make his dreams come true. Sure. And the first thing that I explained was, we're going to have to, I'm willing to offer some kind of a consultation of some set time. And, I might not even charged him, but I needed to explain to him that I'm like, there's going to be some things that we have to discuss. You're going to have to change your way of thinking. You're going to have to take control of your actions and your decisions. Then you have to figure out what path you're going to have, and then discussing how to start that practice. But there's multiple mechanisms that need to be geared together and work and functioning together to make any of these things happen. Because it's one of the reasons that I stopped doing ritual for hire. It wasn't because I can't do rituals, but it's if you want a certain action to manifest into your reality, you're not willing to change your thinking or change your actions or take those opportunities, what you're asking for is probably going to manifest, but it's not manifesting in the exact way that you want, so you think it's not happening and you don't do it. Like, you can manifest money, and you may be like, oh, I want to manifest money in my life. And maybe you're not working and someone offers you a job and you're like, no, I don't want to work. Well, that might have been the manifestation of your spell, but you weren't willing to take the action to get that money. You just wanted it handed to you on a silver platter. And that's not always how magic works. Sometimes maybe somebody does give you a donation, or maybe someone does send you random gifts. I'm not saying that this doesn't happen, but a lot of the time, to manifest your dreams into a reality, you have to change your thinking, change your actions, and match your practice and mesh it into your lifestyle. Magic is a way of life, and it's who you are. It's a state of being, and so, like I was explaining with this potential client is that, there's a lot of things that go into it, and I wasn't going to bullshit him. I wasn't going to bullshit him and say, yeah, I do this spell, and, now you're the leader of the Illuminati. Like, I'm not going to tell my members because it's bullshit. But I was willing.
That's the kind of bullshit that Koetting is selling, and again, he's trying to position himself as some, just like that, right? Some pope of a new religion or some fucking leader of the Illuminati or some shit. And they're preying on people who don't know shit about magic. And you can really tell if you go look at their website and they're like, we teach the secrets of voodoo and the clip-off and blah. And they're just insert generic fucking dark magic word here, and here in a fucking generic ass ClickFunnels style page. And it's just, oh my God, it just drives me crazy because they don't teach anything about the fundamentals of magic, which are astrology, numerology, the tarot. I mean really understanding the tarot, understanding Hermetic philosophy, the roots of magic, of Western magic, if that's what you're teaching. It's not just this unverified personal gnosis, make a cool, dark looking ritual. And as far as ritual for hire goes, I have a few friends who still do this. I would never, because here's the thing. Someone can do a ritual for you, and like you said, you'll get some interesting short-term effects. It's not going to change your life. If you want to change your life, you have to change yourself. What magic is, and I'm going to give you all right now for free. You don't have to go join my school or anything, for free, okay? If you want to have magical effects in your reality, you have to change your inner self. If you change your inner world, it will reflect in the outer world. The outer world is a reflection of your inner world. Nobody else can change your inner world for the better from a distance for a price. You know, you're going to have some short-term interesting effects that are powered, by the way, by your belief in what they're doing. I would much rather teach you to do this for yourself so that you can have long-lasting, real effects that actually change your life for a lot less fucking money. It's irresponsible. You know, I understand non-practitioners coming to a magical practitioner and saying, look, I'm not actually really interested in learning magic. I want to pay for this ritual and I hope that it'll have the effect. Okay, cool. You want someone to do a love spell for you? Okay, cool. I get it. But, you know, right. Maybe it gives you more confidence, but magic is real and you can learn to do it for yourself actually quite quickly, and it'll be a lot more effective and you'll understand some things that are really cool if you do this. But yeah, I think the ritual for hire thing is far less effective, at least, than magical education.
Well, you know, it's they get charged so much money and they're being told that, you know, that the results are guaranteed. And, you know,
really, are they saying that?
Pardon? They do. And there is one person in the group who has been a client came to me and told me that he paid this group member for ritual for hire. They haven't even performed the ritual, real or fake. They have all of these excuses of why they accepted all of this money but haven't done anything on their end. So I'm not saying that people who do ritual for hire can't do magic, because they can.
Sure, yeah.
But as we're saying, if you really want those results, you have to manifest your own reality.
Yes.
It's like, I can cast 20 spells for you, but if you don't change your thinking or your actions and look for opportunities that may be different than what you had originally intended, I can't help you. You can't help you.
So let me ask you one more question. You know, what was the most concerning thing you saw in your time involved with this group? You know, what did you see that really made you say, hey, whoa, I don't want to be here?
Honestly, the big thing was just the way they conduct themselves. And they not only do they sell misinformation and content that harms people, but all of the people that still work for the company, they all have this revenge mentality, all of this pettiness, all of this harassment and drama. It's like they live for anger and pain and resentment.
And you've experienced some of the harassment yourself, right?
I have. You know, I shared my story and it upset some of these group members. So some of the people that they're associated with have actually created slander pages. And on these slander pages, they actually have been stalking me and a few other practitioners for weeks for me, but for some of them, it's even been years. They're going onto private profiles to find pictures. I blocked a lot of them on mine because I wasn't going to engage with them negatively. You know, I'm not going to curse you. You're not worth my magic. You're not worth the consequence of even if I'm successful. I'm not messing up my karma because you're being petty on the internet. But I decided to block these individuals, and they're stalking me personally on multiple forums, trying to discredit me, trying to make me sound like I'm some scorned woman. Now, the only person who ever even tried to make that false narrative was Koetting in his email. And then the people behind the page try to say that they're not pro-bog, but they only harass the people that have said something about bog and nobody else. There's no other practitioners being exposed on this page except like the 6 of us.
You know who else does that? Exactly what you're describing sounds like the way the Church of Scientology harasses their ex-members.
If they really were, you know, powerful and smart and good people, they wouldn't have to threaten us with Pazuzu and whatnot, because, you know, Like if they had integrity, if they were genuine, they wouldn't be threatened by me sharing my story. They wouldn't be threatened by them sharing their story, because they would see it as irrelevant, because it shouldn't even affect them, but it does. And they see, then they fester of how I'm gonna get back at this person, but they can't even do it themselves. They have to do it online and then like inspire their followers to help them.
I think
Now,
it's
if
funny
you're
that they mentioned Pazuzu, right? Because you can see this is just another example that they're not drawing from real magical traditions; they're drawing from movies. Pazuzu is the demon. That's a little statue of Pazuzu in The Exorcist. Papa Legba is featured in several movies about voodoo. They're not drawing from knowledge or magical tradition that they're aware of. They're watching horror movies.
I mean, I'm not really sure what they're doing. I mean, I sometimes I really don't. And it's just like they claim to have all of this knowledge about all of these beings.
But they also claim that all that knowledge came to them in visions directly from those beings, right?
When you're starting a working, sometimes the spirits don't want what they're, even if they are calling to you, don't always want all of the information shared. And even when you have that relationship, it's still unverified. And not to saying that you can't verify it, but it's a process, and they might not want that information shared with the public. Not to mention, starting a relationship doesn't happen overnight. It can take days, it can take weeks, it could take years. And the way they say they start these workings and have learned all of their secrets every month is just ridiculous. It's absurd.
It is absurd.
They claim to start these workings and learn everything and end these workings at their leisure, because they think that these entities are servitors or concepts of their own mind. There's a video of Koetting speaking himself, saying that he went back in time and gave everybody every good idea they ever had, and that nobody has any power, and he has to teach them how to use power, and only he can.
I'm sorry, could you say that again? He went back in time and did what?
Time and implanted every good idea that would ever be had in people's minds that weren't born yet, and that nobody has any real power except for him, and only he can show the line, and you have to get behind him and let him lead, because only he knows all of the answers. And there
Does he really believe this? You think he believes that?
I think he's delusional. I think with the past or current drug use and the obvious kind of illness, I genuinely believe he believes these delusions are real. And I know at the same time that he knows some of the stuff he says is bullshit.
I'm sure he does. Okay, well, Katrice, thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciated it. I know that this probably isn't the most fun to talk about, but it's important because we're at a point where magic is being proliferated throughout the world, real esoteric wisdom. People are waking up to these things, and it's beautiful and it's wonderful. And I want that for everybody. In fact, the entire reason that I run a school, that I do the podcast, that I do any of this, is that learning astrology, numerology, tarot, the Hermetic philosophy, becoming a magical person saved my life. It saved me from depression, from anxiety, from all the negativity in my life. And now I have this wonderful life. I'm a very positive person. I'm happy, and I want to share that with people around me, right? Don't go down that path, right? Because it's a trap, right? You're getting involved in spirituality, and these motherfuckers try and take you off that path and pull you down into their bullshit. And I hope that by presenting this episode, people become more aware of the kind of con artists there are out there, because not all the con artists are Instagram scammers, right? There's several like big figures in occultism that are completely full of shit. And I'm gonna spend the rest of my life exposing them because it makes me sick. So I really appreciate you being here and talking about this with me. Don't fall for this shit, people. You know, if what you're looking for is magic, I promise you, you want to aim yourself in the direction of people who are doing great, right? Look for mentors and people who are positive, who are good role models, who are successful, who have a great attitude, no victimhood, none of this, they betrayed me, I'm going to send a demon kind of, come on, don't fall for that. Thank you for being here, Katrice. I'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.